solid mentally, and all those tiny parts of what makes a great player. If you get all three, all four of them at the same time, yeah, you're a a championship caliber player, and that's what something Drogo did. But look at him, like this is not good when you're going through a best of 5 right now. You lost a really terrible first game, and now you're getting frustrated about hotkeys.
Rustled is the
Exactly.
word that comes to my mind.
Triggered.
We've got the schedule here for today. Just to remind you guys, we had Showtime take on Asunu in the first match. That was a win for the German there, so first Chinese player is out of the tournament. Drogo is now taking on MaSa. Hopefully we can resume that very, very soon in the round of 16. And then Nib will take on Toonming. That's a big, big match. I can't wait for this one. And then Hydra will take on Ender later on in the day. And then tomorrow we get started with Snoot versus Uthermal, the clash of the Europeans against the European Terran.
It's not two worlds collide. It's just a a single continent on this one.
It's pretty cool to be at China Joy, by the way. Like all these people, some of them might not necessarily know StarCraft very well. They're walking around. They're like, yeah, we're gonna check out like all these random, horrible games that we think are good, and then eventually, like they sit there, they're like, you know what? This is actually the best game.
What is this?
This is the best game. Like I'm just watching this, and I feel like it's really good. Well, right now they're on their phone because it's
they're
the
on a
break.
break.
We're not showing the
they're
game.
On a break. Let's be
but
honest,
trust
guys.
me that as soon as we jump into game, these guys are gonna be going crazy. They love it.
Yeah.
Seeing these adepts shading, crushing
yeah.
all the Terran units. Well, actually, in the last game, that wasn't the case. They saw the tanks. They were like, "What? Can I make these units and kill a Protoss like this?" They might be surprised when they play ladder.
Yeah,
and it doesn't go this way.
You need to micro pretty well to execute this kind of builds. And
MaSa doesn't look too phased, by the way.
No.
He's just like rolling with it.
Once again, I think like if you're aware about Drogo's mental status these days, you're thinking, I'm winning 1-0. This is taking a long time to go back to the second game. This is good for me. So once again, they're competitors. They want to go as far as they can. They want to make a lot of money and a lot of WCS points in the process. So why would you be flustered? Just wait.
Yeah.
You're the
he
one
won the first game in like a couple minutes. I'm pretty sure MaSa is in very good spirits right now, whereas Drogo is still trying to fix his issue there. But I mean, going into this match, I really thought that Drogo was going to be the one trying to set up the pace and build. Otherwise, I don't think it looked that bad for him. But just like the initial defense just wasn't there. Like losing Mothership Core again. I feel like if you can buy a little bit of time, get a bunch of adepts out, and then eventually shade in, and then you hold that, you're so far ahead. You pretty much won the game because then you have 3 bases. You just completely outproduce your opponent. Going across the map with the Oracle is the biggest surprise to me because when you see a big push like this is headed your way, you're supposed to stay at home with the Oracle and make sure that you defend whatever's coming. But again, that's the case of us being the observer and seeing everything. He didn't see what there was in the medivac, so he probably thought it's a bunch of Marines, a medivac with a mine in it. And that's actually part of the mine game that MaSa played, because this looks like the usual timing with Marine, medivac, and Widow mine in it. But in this case, surprise, it was a tank, the unit that you never see pushing your base early on in the game, usually.
Well, you see it, but you actually see it getting
but you actually crush it.
Yeah. And this time there was a tank and 3 SCVs, and that really made a whole lot of difference. Apparently Drogo is getting ready. Is he? No, not yet in the game. But yeah, it's a really terrible first game for Drogo.
Is that a new shirt? More GG, more skill with white rice face?
Oh yeah.
I want it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's so sick.
I think that was the first sentence StarCraft-wise that really made an impact on me.
Yeah.
More GG, more skill.
We need more of these shirts. Like we need like a Roddy face, like the typical Roddy pose.
Cheeky Roddy.
With or actually that's not bad.
I love
but even like
hashtag
Roddy build and hashtag Roddy macro. That would be sick. We need more of these shirts.
It could be like a more secret one that would be Roddy in the club. That would sell really, really well, I think.
MaSa actually going into New Gettysburg. What do you think a good mind game build otherwise could be here from him? After he just opened very aggressively. Obviously, I think not doing the same thing would be good. Although sometimes you really surprise your opponents. I guess playing pure macro this time, but then there's always that, that's randomness of does the Protoss actually go for a 7 or 4 gate adept with a War Prism and just kind of right out kill you?
I don't know. I would like, coming from MaSa, something like maybe you know, Rax gasless expand, or even CC first. I don't really know how you can punish it on as a Protoss on New Gettysburg.
Yeah.
But pretty much like a really fast expand, so you can go into a
mean,
really strong 2 base timing.
You know how you can punish it with like a proxy, very fast proxy target.
Yeah.
But Drogo is very unlikely to do that. So.
Yeah. So I'd like that. Like I'd
Yeah.
like something like really economic.
So you want the French player to lose? No, I'm just kidding. I did ask you.
I'm just, you know, thinking in the head of MaSa right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's always been a really great player for 2 base timing pushes. He was always good with those tank, marines, and liberators pushes back like a couple months ago. And I think he played against Drogo in one game like this, where Drogo tried to defend with nothing but adepts, and it looked like he could hold, but in the end, he just died to it. So, and that's once again like. Waiting for the game to start is something that, in my opinion, is not really good for Drogo's status. Okay, it's working. He just said ça marche.
No, really?
I think
I
he
thought he
said
said,
ça
"Oh my
marche."
God, it's working," but I'm bad at lip reading.
I think he said ça marche, which means it's working. He's
Hell
trying to get the
yes.
rapid fire to work. Okay. Okay,
He said
it's
we need
working.
to put caps on. Okay, well.
Ça marche. Yeah, it's working.
Okay, hey, by the way, what happens when we fill this audience and then there is still so many people behind the initial chairs? How do we fit more in to watch the best game in the world?
Is that a question?
We will passion find a way to make room for everybody.
It will happen. Like nobody will be able to, you know, move around the stage because there's gonna be too many people watching. Okay.
We're about to get started here
Yeah.
for map number 2 of
Drogo's
MaSa
in.
versus PtitDrogo here in this best of 5 round of 16. Winner moves on to face Showtime, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Not the easiest of matches, but I guess there are no easy ones, I think, in the entire tournament. Okay, maybe in round 1 there is some matches where you can pick a clear favorite, but I
Yeah.
think from quarterfinals, it's going to be a lot of very strong players. Especially, like, well, I mean, when we looked at the bracket, it was very evenly spread out across the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm. And now Drogo seems a little bit more calm, composed. He's happy. The rapid fire is working. He actually apologized to everybody. You know, he's being a good lad. You know,
A good Frenchman.
a good Frenchman.
Not all of us are. Not all of us are as gracious as this guy here on your screen.
Yeah, you need to know Todd personally to know that.
Here we go. 2 worlds are about to collide here on New
Oh, yeah.
Gettysburg. Let's jump into map number 2 between MaSa and Drogo. Starting in the bottom left-hand side of the map here, playing as the red Terran. It's, of course, MaSa. The Canadian playing as red and the French playing as blue. Doesn't get any more perfect than this.
Exactly. But I'm right. As Protoss for my insanity, trailing 1-0, PtitDrogo.
What do you think about the mineral patches here? Like Roti mentioned many times to me that like it's good for Protoss to have the mineral patches spread out this well against Widow Mines drop, because then you don't have to split nearly as much or worry about big detonations.
Ah, interesting. Never thought of that actually. That's
You don't Widow Mine drop that much?
I
or-
do.
Yeah?
I do. I love it. I love it, especially on my level. They tend to, you know, do the worst thing possible, which is trying to micro, but a little bit too
Yeah.
late, so they all stack up, and you do 15 kills in a, you know, in single shot. I love it. But I didn't think about the minerals being somewhat relevant to this, but it's actually a pretty good point, I think.
I'm a bit worried for Drogo because I feel like we're going to find out very quickly whether he's actually still rustled from map number 1 and what happened. And he started a second gas and then cancelled it. And usually when that happens, it means you forgot your build order in the start of the game. When your build order is all you should be thinking about, right?
Yeah.
I kind of covered that earlier when I talked about focus in the series. So that's a little bit worrying, but at the same time, maybe he can use that to make sure that right now he's refocusing completely on the game and does everything that he needs to do from there.
Okay, MaSa is even gonna go for something even quicker. Like I mentioned, maybe go for a quick expand and then do some kind of 2 base timing, but this time he's gonna go all out on pressure on 1 base. He's going for racks and factory, gonna probably build a reactor at some point. Only 1 gas yet, so I don't really know what he's gonna do with it. Probably Hellions. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Hellions here could be good. You know, the way the ramp is super wide around the natural, the one down there, and even the one into the main, like it's very hard to properly wall off or even see it coming. It's not something that we see very often. And the thing about this kind of build is that because he hasn't been used for a very long time, people kind of forgot how to play against. But in this case, we see a Widow Mine start as well as starports. and a command center. So it's a lot more standard here from MaSa than just going for something like Hellions, which definitely would have been a surprise. Whereas Drogo, he went for the standard Nexus, added second gas, and now it's Robo. I'm picturing here Adepts being dropped just because, like, it's, so to speak, you know, close by air by default here on this map. And if you were to go for, you know, maybe 3 more gates, it would be a big commitment to try and do a lot of damage. Maybe kind of hope that MaSa went for a very quick third command center.
Yeah, the Adept trying to... he's actually going to go for Hellions after that, but he's going to go for a really quick Widow Mine drop. Where's the Widow Mine, actually? Okay, it's hidden in the middle line, anticipating a Prism, but probably more, you know, a Stargate unit, probably Oracle. And in this case, I like the fact that Drogo wants to be the one that puts a little bit of pressure, but once again, those two builds are going to clash. And you'll see who's going to be the one who defends it properly.
Drogo actually started nothing, by the way, other than a War Prism. Oh, there we go. 2 more gates start now. Still no Twilight Council. And it's only the 2 gates, so he's not going to commit big time to aggression. Otherwise, he would have made the gates earlier and maybe 3 extra ones of them. So far, he's just making additional probes and getting his walker count up.
The Medivac had a lot of trouble in the bottom to actually go through those walls because that's still a new feature and a lot of players have a lot of trouble with it. And you've got Hellions. Oh yeah.
Remember that Drogo is on only 2 gateways and his units actually is War Prism leaving his base right now. He has nothing back at home other than the Mothership Core, which is it is natural. This is a disaster here for start of that game for PtitDrogo. The Pylon's gonna get sniped on the natural. The Hellions.
Okay, this is terrible. This is just terrible right now. He's using a photon overcharge that's not even hitting any Hellions.
The Adepts across the map, though, are going to do some damage there. And if he can transfer those into the natural, if MaSa doesn't lower this depot. But right now, Drogo's not even transferring that. Oh, this is
terrible. He's got an observer now, so he's got some detection. But 21 probes are already going down.
This number tells the story here. 21 probes have died for only 2 SCVs falling down. And remember that Terran is doing better tech-wise. He's got a starport. He started 2 additional barracks here with this. And the Adepts are being defended. SCVs, they picked up their stools and they bashed these Adepts.
And he had to warp in. He had to warp in the main to actually defend, but it's not even killing the Widowmine yet. And those Marines, they have got so much survivability because of the Medivac right now. So Drogo in a lot of troubles right now. 27 SCV to 20 probes. Might be not totally down yet. He's gonna get the Medivac and all 4 Marines, which is a pretty good thing for him. But other than that, like you mentioned it, technology-wise, he's such in a bad spot.
Oh my god. He picks up the Stalkers and flies them back across the map, but MaSa has the Liberator now. The Stalkers had to be back at home.
He's already in the
main. The Prism.
It's already in the main. The Liberator is getting so much kills right now, and the second base is the only one.
He's going all in, I guess. Right?
I don't think he has another shot, though.
Yeah, he lost so many probes that I think Drogo realized that he has to do something drastic. Even the Liberator is just like, he's having the time of his life. We don't mind blowing up here. That War Prism, not quite killing it just yet. More units are going to be made from MaSa that are going to try to defend against this. Drogo is kind of broke here. Even warping in a few units here is going to be difficult.
And he can micro with the Prism. There is a lot of Marines, though, and all the SCVs are getting pulled right now. Nice micro. The Prism is going to save it. Okay. It would have been totally over. It's still not looking well, but it's 41 supply against 50, 17 army supply to each player. So now there's nothing else to be done.
That's
just
a massive
killing
big
now.
deal. Sniping this observer is a big deal. That was the only one that was out on the map. Remaking one is going to take a lot of time, especially to send it across the map. And if you see the amount of Stalkers that Drogo has, he wants to attack at the front step here of MaSa's base. And usually when you have this many Stalkers, you can just kite against Marines and do very well. Which right now, by the way, it took a long time to pick up that one. But the Widowmine!
It's going to kill the Prism, I think. Oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. There's no way now Drogo can do anything about it. He's going to pull the SCVs, MaSa that is, and trying to get a pretty decent fight against those Stalkers for now. He's actually succeeding in this, and he's got a 3rd command center. So right now, that all in from PtitDrogo, there's not going to be any reinforcements because of that Mothership Core getting sniped. This is terrible for the Frenchman. He's going to go down 2-0. The Mothership Core is falling. Nice control from MaSa and that Medivac. Just dealing everything, and those Stalkers, they can run, but it's not going to change anything about it. Yes, it's not going to change anything about this game. Only 3 Stalkers against a Terran that has Medivacs, Mines, Marauders, Marines. This is terrible for Drogo right now. Once again, a really frustrating game for Drogo.
Absolutely. At this point, there is really not much he can do. I think he's just going to commit. It's just too hard to recover in an economic game here from there. So he's going to make more units, maybe send the War Prism in, try to get a good warp in. And there is a Widowmine plus a turret in the main. This Warp Prism actually blow up. Before he can even drop a single unit. Oh, it goes from bad to worse. And GG is called here. MaSa with the 2-0 lead against the French Protoss there. Really showing up here in China.
And really strong games, not questioning himself whatsoever, just going for the aggression twice and making it work, just making it work. And amazing control, seems really calm and collected. And yeah,
if there was any question about Drogo's mental state after map number 1, there really isn't anyone left here after map number 2, and it's just an absolute disaster of a game.
Yeah, MaSa makes it look really easy right now.
But honestly, I don't want to take anything away from it. I think MaSa played really well, but definitely gets fortunate with a lot of things, right? Like the Warp Prism going across the map with the Adepts in it as the Medivac flies into the main. Definitely played in his favor. Where the aggression started much earlier from MaSa, the Mothership Core was on the natural instead of being in the main. Sure, Drogo's not playing the best StarCraft that he can be playing, for sure. But I think MaSa, definitely a lot of things have gone his way here so far in this series, especially in that map number 2. There were a lot of small things that just are happening exactly as you would want them to happen here as a Terran.
You know what it reminds me of, the way the second game goes? Like it reminds me of TvT in general, when it was all about just one base aggression against one base aggression, and you had that kind of stuff like Medivacs flying across and actually meeting in the middle of the map, and both of the players usually just go for the aggression, and then it's a matter of, can I do and deal damage across the map while defending at home? And this time the clash of those two builds were just like terribly wrong for Drogo. Didn't have the units in place. The Mothership Core was out of position. He didn't use his Photon Overcharge against aliens. There's a lot of stuff that went wrong. So once again, if he can erase that game from his mind, I think Drogo has still a shot. But
what do you think? This is Men in Black? Of course he can erase it. He needs to move on, I guess, somehow. And do kind of like Showtime did with map number 1 versus Asunu, where he just thought, it's one defense that I didn't do, but I'm going to have so many more that where I'm going to hold this attack, so it's fine. But in this case, Drogo here is facing a Terran that's on match points. That's pretty darn good here so far in this series. We're in map number 3 here on Frozen Temple, and starting in the bottom right-hand side of the map here, playing as the red Terran, it's of course MaSa. Playing for Team Elevate.
And in the top left, playing Protoss. And in blue, for my insanity, it is PtitDrogo. And he needs to bring it back. He's right now led 2-0 by MaSa, and he really didn't have a chance to play. Like every time his build order and what he did wasn't properly executed. Like his micro wasn't there, his multitask and his mini-map awareness. A lot of stuff went wrong this time. And
it's been a very one-sided series so far.
Probes,
a lot of probes have died, and then he lost the game. That's how it went.
I'm pretty sure he lost more probes than he killed units, Terran units, ever since the beginning of the series. So let's hope it changes.
Pretty sure he lost more probes here in these 2 games than he did in his previous entire tournament.
Maybe.
Which is not good. MaSa with a very fast double gas that will get scouted very early here. So pretty good for Drogo to get this scout off here. And now MaSa, what does he do? A lot of Terrans here I think would pull some SCVs off the gas and then go for a very mineral heavy build, but so far he's staying the course. Artosis once said, you gotta stay the course. The captain goes down with his ship, and in this case MaSa chooses to kinda stick to his plans.
Yeah, actually, like
2+2 right now.
He did switch it up a little bit, but it does look like, and it was the map that it was built on, Frozen Temple, the build that we saw game 1, tank drop with SCVs. That was the map that Maru did it on in Pro League. So let's see if he goes with this, or if he has an actual plan of switching it up in case he gets scouted. So we'll see about that. But it's still a really strong map to do it to do that on.
If you're Drogo there, you're playing against a Terran that's, I think he's gonna start Robo. Yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say. You're playing against a Terran that's played very aggressive 2 games in a row. You're going for a fast Nexus, and you know that the Terran again is gonna be playing fairly aggressive. I think the best thing you can do, get a Robo, get 2 gates very soon here, add 2 more gates, get a bunch of Stalkers and Adepts, wait for him to attack and crush his attack. Yeah, just do that. It's the simple standard thing that you have to do against a Terran that really wants to play aggressive. MaSa with the hidden SCV here, that's pretty cool because he's going to be able to see exactly what Drogo's going for.
Yeah, and let's see, like, in the case of Drogo going for what you mentioned, like really early 2 gates, let's see if he goes for the build anyways, because for now, it's exactly the same. You've got the tank, you've got the medevac, and you'll probably have those 3 SCVs getting added on for that drop, and now MaSa gets to scout. He's going to go at the back of the mineral line, trying to look out like if there's any technology, Twilight or anything, but right now, he's building those 2 gateways. It hasn't been scouted by MaSa. He did scout the lack of technology, so maybe he can put everything together and actually know about that. But for now, it looks like he's just gonna go for it. YOLO,
Yeah,
you know?
When you have tanks like this from MaSa, like, you know, we've talked about how overcharged, sure, it can buy you some time, but as soon as this pylon starts falling, you're still gonna be in trouble. PtitDrogo, ideally, he should be making an immortal. He starts it now, okay. That's, you know, it would have been a lot worse if he had made maybe a War Prism or even a second Observer, but now with the Observer, he sees what's coming as well. And this time he's really focused on the defense. I think this is looking quite all right so far.
We talked about it yesterday. Drogo needs to defense this.
He's chrono boosting out of the gate, by the way, as well, which is really nice. You don't need to be making probes right now. You need to be making only units to try and hold this off. And in this case, this is a massive all-in.
Yeah, it is.
There is no
really
second command center here.
Not at all. Not
Just
at all.
double bunker.
No transition whatsoever, double bunker coming up. Is he gonna go with the probes with the new warping of Stalkers? 6 Stalkers and Adept and a lot of probes. He's gonna go for it! Can he get the medevac? He's gonna get it, so that tank is totally dead. And Drogo holds for the first time in that best of 5.
This is what could happen in a previous game if he saw it coming, if he defended perfectly like this, but Drogo, map number 1, he messed up big time. Map number 2, again, got unfortunate though. And I mean, this time around, the initial defense was perfect, and from there, when you are Protoss with a second base with personal warfare, you just win it, GG! MaSa realizes this is just not gonna work, he's not gonna get the 3-0 with some super aggressive builds, and Drogo finally gathers some momentum here in this series.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have changed anything in terms of, he wouldn't have any games to play afterwards if he got 3-0, but I think mentally it would have hurt him so bad, because once again, we talked about it yesterday. He said, oh, what's the flavor of the month, but we know how to defend it. We know everything about that now. We had a group talk of Protosses and we, yeah, you know, like a Skype group for Protosses, and we all said, yeah, just build 2 more gateways and defend it pretty well. That was so easy for him to defend this one.
Absolutely, it's been a great series so far. We're gonna head to a short break, and then when we come back, it's gonna be map number 4 here between MaSa, who's up 2-1, up against his opponent, PtitDrogo.